I'm Meredith Alphin, and I'm the owner, farmer, and florist of Fable Flower Farms. So a fable is a story with a moral told through or by an inanimate object, whether that be an animal or a plant or something else. I think people primarily think of through animals. You know, we think of Aesop's fables, but I think a flower can tell a story, and roots can tell us a story, soil can tell us a story. So that really motivated me in choosing that name. My mom was great at flower gardening. My grandmother did a lot of dried floral arranging. She had a business in Richmond. Her home in Richmond was just beautifully landscaped. She just had all these little nooks in her yard where she had artfully placed plants and moss and ground covers, and it was kind of magical to me as a kid. So I would say I got my interest there. So I grew vegetables organically for a long time, which was great. I love farming. I'm really passionate about it. But I have this artsy side, and I love beauty and creating with beauty and with nature. And so when I kind of heard about flower farming, I thought, what better combination to combine my love of farming and my passion there, and also the ability to design with florals and beauty. And I really embrace the idea of beauty feeding our souls. You know, the organic produce fed our bellies, and that's good and helpful and needed, but we also need to feed our souls as well. And I think beauty and flowers do that in a really beautiful and needed way, especially right now. There is not really an off season for flower farming. You know, vegetables, I had some off season. Flowers, they just keep going. So whether, you know, it's too cold out in the field, I'm in the greenhouse starting things for early spring. We plant in the fall, so there's things that are kind of slightly growing over winter, and there are weeds that love the wintertime, so it's constant work. I have grown up in Suffolk my whole life. I grew up downtown, and of course, as a teenager, like most teenagers in a small town, you swear, you know, as soon as I get out of high school, I am going somewhere else. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna live in England. I'm gonna live in London. I'm gonna live in a big city. And I said that as a teenager, and I have literally never left Suffolk. And I am the biggest diehard Suffolk fan. As they say, I'm peanut born and peanut bred, and when I die, I'll be peanut dead, right? That's the old Suffolk fight song, I think. So here I am. I have deep roots. I always think of myself in plant terms, so I'm a very deeply rooted plant. I have a very deep taproot. And so I have a lot of Suffolk pride, and I'm very committed to this community and kind of creating the culture within my small town that I want to see. And part of that is a culture of local flowers and beauty here. I need my work to be meaningful. And to me, growing in a sustainable way, in a way that benefits both people and nature, is meaningful. And that's what keeps me going. Whether it's that I'm creating a place of beauty for people to come to and find food for their souls, or whether it's that I'm creating a safe place for pollinators and wildlife to be, or a place where those two can meet. To me, that's meaningful, and that's where my passion is. I feel like I've been doubting everything the last couple weeks. Part of this happens every year in July and August when you're just totally exhausted and, you know, it's crazy hot. The weeds are faster than you are. Everything seems overgrown. The bugs are everywhere. Can't keep up at home. You can't keep up here. And you start doubting yourself and saying, am I crazy? Is this even meaningful? Is this worth it? Does this add value to my life or anyone's life? Or, yeah, is the cost worth it? I don't know. So I doubt that every year. This past couple weeks, it's been a lot of that. Yeah, I don't know. That usually takes a couple people talking me off the cliff a little bit. So I'm still kind of in that place. But I do still love it, and I'll probably keep doing it. Because usually come fall, after I've had a little break, well, not fall, maybe like December, then I'm like thinking about expanding every year, which is crazy. So don't let me do that, anybody. If you hear talk of that, stop me. I have young kids. You know, I have a 14-year-old and an almost 11-year-old, and we have a fairly large house and a yard with gardens, actually. And it's hard. I come home this time of year especially, and you know, my gardens at home look a mess. There's weeds everywhere. The house is a mess. It's hard to keep up with housework. I feel guilt about not cooking more meals or being more present. Trying to find that balance. Trying to figure out how to run a farm and not let the farm run me. Right now, it's definitely running me. Right now, like, my mindset is like, so much of life is futility. You do the same things over and over just to do it again, to turn around and the problem's back. Whether it's housework, like I clean a room at my house and turn around and the kids have destroyed it. Or I weed a bed and I turn around and the next week it's full of weeds again. You know, it's just, that's life sometimes. I could do better at going with that flow, but I fight it, I guess. I guess I'm always trying to like solve the problem in my head. Like, okay, well, where do I reduce something? Where do I like stop doing this thing so I have more time here? What do I cut back on? And that's always the challenge. I still don't know what to cut back on, because it seems like if you cut back on something, then it's gonna cause a bigger issue here. Or if I don't harvest all the flowers twice a week, well then 2 weeks later I may not have the flowers I need, so I can't cut back there. Grow less, well, if I grow less, then I don't have as much of a margin for, you know, error, for pest damage, for, you know, weather damage, for whatever the problem may be, you know, and with farming, you're working with 1,000 variables. So, you know, you want to kind of shoot for more and hopefully get what you need. You know, it's at that spot too, business-wise, where you're like, you're growing, you have the interest and customer base, and that's great, and people want more, but you're still one person, and I have an employee, and she's great. I could use more employees, but I'm at the point where to grow to make that income, to bring on another employee would require, you know, more work, and I don't have that capacity right now. So that's the puzzle I'm trying to figure out, and I'm not sure. Yeah, there's days where I'm like, I'm not sure I'm cut out to run a business. I can be a workhorse, but I don't know if I have the strategic mind always to figure that piece out. So that's what kind of plays in my head.
You know, the demands of farming are much greater than the yard at home. And you remember how you loved weeding when you were young? Yeah. Hence the theory that when I grow up and have my own yard, I'm just going to pave it. but you didn't. And I guess I see the same thing with Eden. You know, when you started the farm, you thought, oh, and the kids will be out here and they'll be helping. And that was my idea once upon a time too, was that you guys would help me weed in the garden, but kids don't like to weed in their parents' gardens. And so it requires you to do it all. And I know what that was like in our yard at home. And you just work like a farm animal to get it done and then come home spent. Mm-hmm. And that concerns me. You know, your kids are growing up and that doesn't wait.
Yeah. No, it concerns me too. And I'm figuring out how to find that balance of getting what needs to be done and leaving the rest till another time. So
that's a big balance, isn't it? Mm-hmm. That's a lot to balance, because farming is kind of about the tyranny of the urgent, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's always demanding.
I can't push a pause button on harvesting or planting. I can't say, just pause, I'll do this next week when I can, or a month from now when it's a better time. Like there's, weather patterns and specifics that make it, it's got to be done then. So, I have to cover something today because,
right.
This temperature is coming or this weather is coming, so it can't wait. Right. It's either do it now or lose the crop.
Do you see a parallel between raising children and raising flowers? I mean, in some of the things you just said.
Right, you're right. You're right, there is a parallel because there are stages that I can't put a pause on, and I can't pause them growing up.
Right.
Mm. And I can't pause the stages they're in. And you have one opportunity. I have one chance at, reaching them at that stage, yeah, or walking with them through that thing.
Growing a thing of beauty, yeah.
Yeah, growing either thing, you have to be in the moment.
Yeah.
But one is, I've got to put a higher value on one than the other, obviously.
Yeah.
I worry about a lot. I worried about way, way too many things, and it took up a lot of my mental energy, and oftentimes it worked out. In fact, when things looked terrible and it seemed like I just threw my hands up and said, I'm done, is when God sort of just showed me, hey, guess what? I got this. Guess what? I don't really need you to grow these plants. And you can spin your wheels and I'll still make them grow and they'll still be beautiful without all that worry. So I've seen that time and time again recently, and I do regret the times I was just, spinning out of control, worrying. The future of Fable, I don't exactly know. I hope we're still growing lots of flowers. I hope we're still loving it. I hope I can find a way to make it work where I can spend more time with my family and still grow tons of flowers. Or if not, find the sweet spot of the right amount and not look back and regret the time I missed with my family or my kids. I don't want to look back and when they've graduated high school and think, shoot, they're gone, and what do I have to show for it? A little bit of money and a sore back and a lot of flowers.
Both are meaningful. Beauty is meaningful. I do love the work, but my kids are more meaningful. And I have to constantly hold that balance. So yeah, the future is unclear. I don't know. The legacy I hope to leave is that hard work matters. I think there's a ton of value in learning to work hard for the sake of working hard, for the sake of a job well done. And I think working hard for beauty is even more important. That even sometimes things that don't make sense or don't compute are worth doing. Even taking more steps than necessary, it's worth doing. So I need to flesh that out more. That seems kind of mysterious. But that's a legacy I want to leave. I want to keep going because beauty matters, and it matters not just because people like pretty things and it makes us feel happy, but because it points us to something bigger and more beautiful than our present state in this present world even. It being a tiny glimpse of the beauty that God offers, that our Creator offers. And it points us to something beyond. And we need that. We need that a lot right now. I need that. Even if it's just for me and my family, I need to see it. And I want to keep that going. Whether it's for only the pollinators to see and eat for the time being, but just so that there is a spot to come, to get away from it, and to see a picture of something grander.
There's so many stories in a seed, in a small thing, a tiny, insignificant thing. Like, have you ever seen the seed for celosia? It's tiny. Poppy seed is almost like dust. And yet, at the end of that story is this huge, beautiful bloom that seems impossible that it came from this tiny little seed. And even in the life stage of a flower, I find every life stage beautiful. I even love the stage of a flower blowing out. You know, you think of a tulip, and you know, as a flower farmer and a grower, you want to sell a tulip that's closed, and that's what people want. That's what your customer wants, is this tight tulip that they know is going to hold on and last. But I think the most beautiful stage of the tulip is when it's blown wide open, and it's going to seed, and it's got its pollen there for the pollinator, and it's at its last moments of life. And it's kind of like, here's everything that I am, wide open, right before it dies. It's just a beautiful picture to me of what our life should kind of be like. At the very end, we hope that we're blown wide open, offering everything we've learned and have for the generation after us to catch and to rebirth it after us.
How will these brief blooms accomplish such mighty labors? What grace will sustain them? Because their work is so great, we pray, O Father, blessings on these small flowers. May their roots work deep, finding rich soil. May their leaves and buds be wakened by gentle sun and watered by ample rain. May the strength of their fragile beauty in bloom give pause to passers-by, who will meet in their sweet scent and radiant forms whispers of grace, stirrings of the Spirit, and the awakenings of eternal hungers that can be met and satisfied only in you. Let these flowers, O Lord, bear witness in their deepest natures to eternal things, and let our lives also, O Lord, do the same. Amen.